The sound of shattering glass pierced the night air as Tyler Lawson lunged forward without hesitation, his muscular frame moving on instinct before his mind could catch up. Three shadowy figures surrounded a woman in the dimly lit parking garage, one brandishing what appeared to be a knife while another grabbed at her designer handbag. "Hey," Tyler shouted, his deep voice echoing against the concrete walls. "Back off now." The 32-year-old construction worker hadn't planned on being a hero tonight. He'd only stopped by the upscale downtown shopping center to pick up a special birthday gift for his 8-year-old daughter, Lily, a rare splurge from a father who usually counted every penny. But something in him couldn't stand by while someone was threatened, regardless of his own safety. The woman, tall, elegant, dressed in clothes that probably cost more than his monthly rent, stood frozen, her face a mask of fear and surprise. The three assailants turned toward Tyler, momentarily distracted from their target. "Mind your business, man," the tallest one growled, adjusting his grip on the knife. "Walk away while you still can." Tyler's heart hammered in his chest. Walking away wasn't an option, not when someone needed help. He thought briefly of Lily waiting at home with his mother, how she needed him to come home safe. But he also thought about the values he was teaching her, standing up for others, doing what's right even when it's hard. "I said back off," Tyler repeated, stepping closer, his hands raised but balled into fists. Years of construction work had made him strong, and growing up in a rough neighborhood had taught him how to handle himself. The moment hung suspended for what felt like minutes, but was likely only seconds. Then the shortest thief made a sudden move toward the woman again, reaching for her purse. Tyler acted without thinking. He closed the distance in 3 quick strides and delivered a solid punch to the man's jaw, sending him staggering backward. The knife wielder lunged, but Tyler was ready, deflecting his arm and landing a hard blow to his stomach. The third man seemed to lose his nerve, backing away before turning to run. His companions quickly followed suit, cursing as they fled toward the garage exit. Tyler stood breathing heavily, adrenaline still coursing through his veins. He turned to the woman, who remained remarkably composed despite what had just happened. "Are you hurt?" he asked, his voice gentle now. She straightened her blazer, a deep navy that complemented her warm brown skin, and met his gaze with startling intensity. "Thanks to you, no." Her voice was rich and confident, with an undercurrent of authority that seemed second nature. That was either incredibly brave or incredibly foolish. Tyler smiled ruefully, suddenly aware of his worn jeans and faded t-shirt. "Probably a bit of both. I'm Tyler Lawson." "Penelope Rhodes," she replied, extending a hand that was adorned with a single tasteful diamond ring. "And I owe you my gratitude." Tyler felt something shift in the atmosphere between them as their hands touched something unexpected that made him momentarily forget the throbbing in his knuckles, where they'd connected with the thief's jaw. "Let me call security and the police," Penelope said, already reaching for her phone, the latest model. Tyler noted absently. "And perhaps you should have that hand looked at." Tyler glanced down at his hand, noticing for the first time that his knuckles were bleeding. "It's nothing." "Construction worker," he explained with a shrug. "My hands have seen worse." While Penelope made her calls, Tyler found himself studying her more closely. She was beautiful in a powerful way, mid-30s perhaps, with intelligent eyes and confidence in every movement. Her clothing screamed money, but in an understated way that suggested she didn't need to flaunt it. "They're on their way," she said, slipping her phone into her purse. "Security will meet us at the main entrance. Would you mind walking with me? I'd feel safer." "Of course," Tyler nodded, falling into step beside her. "Do you often shop this late?" It was nearly 9, and most of the stores had closed or were closing. "Actually, I was working. My office is in the tower connected to this complex." She gestured toward the gleaming skyscraper that dominated the skyline. "What about you? Late-night shopping doesn't seem like your usual activity," Tyler laughed. "That obvious, huh? My daughter's birthday is tomorrow. She's turning 8, and there's this special art set she's been talking about for months. This was the only place that had it, and today was my only chance to get here before her birthday." Something softened in Penelope's expression. "You have a daughter. What's her name?" Lily, Tyler answered, unable to keep the pride from his voice. She's everything to me. And her mother, Penelope asked, then immediately shook her head. I'm sorry, that's much too personal. Please ignore, it's fine, Tyler assured her. Lily's mother left when she was 2. It's been just the 2 of us ever since, with some help from my mom. Penelope nodded, a look of genuine understanding crossing her face. Before she could respond, they reached the entrance where 2 security guards were waiting. The next hour passed in a blur of statements to security and police. Tyler watched as Penelope handled everything with practiced ease, commanding respect without even trying. When they finally stepped outside into the cool night air, she turned to him. Let me drive you home, she offered. It's the least I can do. That's not necessary. I've got my truck, Tyler started, but Penelope cut him off. Then at least let me buy you a coffee. There's an all-night cafe around the corner. She smiled, and Tyler found himself unable to refuse. The cafe was nearly empty at this hour. They settled into a corner booth, Tyler with a black coffee and Penelope with some complicated tea concoction that cost twice what he'd normally spend on a drink. As they talked, Tyler found himself opening up more than he usually did with strangers. He told her about his work as a foreman for a small construction company, how he'd worked his way up from basic labor despite not finishing college. How he juggled long hours with raising Lily, the constant struggle to provide her with opportunities he never had, and the perpetual worry that it wasn't enough. She deserves the world, Tyler said, turning his coffee cup in his hands. Sometimes I worry that I can't give her that. Penelope leaned forward. From what you've told me, you're giving her something much more valuable than material things. You're teaching her courage, integrity, hard work. I saw that firsthand tonight. Tyler felt warmth spread through his chest at her words. What about you? What do you do in that fancy tower? For the first time, Penelope seemed hesitant. I work in corporate leadership. Tyler raised an eyebrow. That's vague. She smiled, a genuine one that reached her eyes. I'm the CEO of Rhodes Innovations. Tyler nearly choked on his coffee. Rhodes Innovations was one of the largest tech companies in the country, known for its cutting-edge software and generous employee benefits. You're joking. I'm afraid not, she replied, amusement dancing in her eyes. Tyler leaned back, suddenly feeling out of his depth. So I just saved a millionaire CEO from muggers. That's not something I expected to do today. Billionaire, technically, Penelope corrected with a wince, but I'd prefer it if you just saw me as Penelope. Tyler studied her for a moment, then nodded. All right, Penelope. Just a regular person who happens to run a billion-dollar company. They both laughed, and something in the tension between them eased. They talked until the cafe staff started giving them pointed looks, covering everything from favorite movies to childhood dreams. Tyler was surprised to learn that, beneath her polished exterior, Penelope had her own struggles, the weight of thousands of employees depending on her decisions, the isolation of leadership, and the challenge of maintaining her identity in a male-dominated industry. When they finally parted ways in the parking garage, Tyler found himself reluctant to say goodbye. Thank you again, Penelope said, standing by her sleek luxury car. Not just for what you did earlier, but for the conversation. It's rare for me to meet someone who doesn't want something from me. Well, I did get a free coffee out of it, Tyler joked. Penelope smiled, then hesitated before pulling out a business card and writing something on the back. This is my personal number. If you ever need anything, and I mean anything, please call. Tyler accepted the card, knowing he probably wouldn't use it. Their worlds were too different. It was nice meeting you, Penelope Rhodes. Likewise, Tyler Lawson. Drive safe. As Tyler drove home through the quiet streets, he couldn't help but replay their conversation in his mind. There had been a connection, there's something real beneath the surface differences. But he was a practical man, and practicality told him that tonight was a one-time encounter, an interesting story he'd tell Lily when she was older. Life, however, had other plans. The following morning brought Lily's birthday celebration, a small gathering with a few of her friends at the local park. Tyler watched his daughter blow out her candles, her face glowing with happiness as she opened the art set he'd risked his life to purchase. The scrapes on his knuckles had faded to dull red marks, and the events of the previous night seemed almost dreamlike now, until his phone rang with a number he didn't recognize. "Mr. Lawson, this is James from Rhodes Innovations HR department. I'm calling because Miss Rhodes has personally requested your contact information to discuss a potential opportunity with our company." Tyler frowned, stepping away from the picnic table where Lily and her friends were giggling over cake. "I think there's been a misunderstanding. I'm a construction worker, not a tech person. Miss Rhodes mentioned you work in construction management. Our company is breaking ground on a new campus next month, and she thought you might be interested in consulting on the project." Tyler's mind raced. The job he currently had was steady but barely covered the bills. An opportunity like this, even a temporary consulting gig, could make a real difference. "I'd be happy to discuss it," he said carefully. "Excellent, Miss Rhodes would like to meet with you on Monday at 10 a.m. if that works for your schedule." After ending the call, Tyler returned to the birthday party, his thoughts in turmoil. Was this a genuine opportunity, or was Penelope Rhodes simply trying to repay a debt she felt she owed him? Either way, he couldn't afford to dismiss it without consideration, not when Lily's future was at stake. Monday arrived with unexpected nervousness. Tyler dressed in his best clothes, which meant the one suit he owned, purchased for his cousin's wedding 3 years ago. He dropped Lily off at school with an extra tight hug before driving downtown to the imposing glass tower that housed Rhodes Innovations. The receptionist greeted him by name before he could even introduce himself and directed him to an express elevator that required a special key card. Tyler felt increasingly out of place as the elevator climbed to the executive floor, wondering if he was making a mistake. When the doors opened, Penelope was waiting, looking every inch the powerful CEO in a tailored crimson suit, her hair pulled back in a sleek bun. "Tyler," she greeted him with a warm smile that somehow made the opulent surroundings less intimidating. "Thank you for coming. Let me show you to my office." Her office was exactly what he'd expect of a billionaire CEO, spacious with floor-to-ceiling windows offering a panoramic view of the city. But it also contained surprising personal touches. Children's artwork framed alongside business awards, well-worn paperbacks on the shelves alongside business texts. "I should be upfront," Tyler said once they were seated. "I appreciate the opportunity, but if this is just because you feel you owe me something, it's not charity, if that's what you're worried about," Penelope cut in, her voice firm. "I had our team research you after we met. Your current employer speaks very highly of your work, especially your ability to bring projects in under budget without sacrificing quality. That's exactly what we need for our new campus project." She slid a folder across the desk. Tyler opened it to find a detailed proposal for a consulting position that would pay nearly triple his current salary. "This is generous," he said carefully. "It's market rate for someone with your expertise on a project of this scale," Penelope countered. The position would be for 1 year initially, with the possibility of extension or permanent employment depending on how the project progresses. Tyler studied the proposal, looking for the catch. "And you're sure I'm qualified for this?" Penelope's expression softened slightly. "Tyler, I don't make business decisions based on personal feelings. Yes, I wanted to help you after what you did for me, so I looked into your background. But I'm offering you this position because you're genuinely qualified and we need someone with your skills." Something in her directness convinced him. They spent the next hour discussing the project in detail, a state-of-the-art campus that would include not just office space, but also childcare facilities, green spaces, and affordable housing for employees. By the time Tyler left, he had accepted the position, starting in 2 weeks. As he drove to pick up Lily from school, a mixture of excitement and disbelief coursed through him. This opportunity could change everything for them. The next few months brought a whirlwind of changes. The consulting position challenged Tyler in ways his previous job never had, pushing him to expand his knowledge and skills. The money allowed him to move Lily to a better apartment in a safer neighborhood with good schools. For the first time in years, he wasn't living paycheck to paycheck, constantly afraid that one emergency would topple their fragile financial stability. He saw Penelope regularly, though always in professional settings, project meetings, site visits, planning sessions. She was unfailingly fair and professional, treating him exactly the same as other team members. If not for the occasional lingering glance or the way her smile seemed to soften when he entered a room, Tyler might have believed their chance encounter in the parking garage meant nothing special to her. For his part, Tyler found himself thinking about Penelope far more than was appropriate for an employee regarding his boss. He admired her sharp intelligence, her decisive leadership, and the genuine compassion she showed for both her employees and the communities affected by her company's projects. Despite her wealth and power, she remained grounded in a way that surprised him. 3 months into the project, Tyler was working late, finalizing some budget adjustments in the temporary office set up at the construction site. Most of the staff had gone home hours ago, but the soft sound of footsteps alerted him that he wasn't alone. Penelope appeared in the doorway, her usual corporate attire replaced by jeans and a simple blouse, her hair loose around her shoulders. "I thought I might find you here," she said, leaning against the doorframe. "It's nearly 9, Tyler. The numbers will still be there tomorrow." Tyler rubbed his eyes, suddenly aware of the tension in his shoulders. "I just want to make sure everything's perfect for the presentation tomorrow." "It will be. You've done exceptional work." She hesitated, then added, "Have you eaten? I was about to grab some dinner at the little Thai place around the corner." Tyler knew he should refuse. The line between their professional and personal relationship was already blurring dangerously. But hunger and something else, something he wasn't ready to name, made him nod. "Let me just send these files and I'll be ready." The restaurant was small and crowded, the kind of authentic place tourists rarely found. They were seated at a tiny table in the corner, their knees occasionally brushing beneath it. For the first time since he'd started working for her, Penelope seemed to deliberately steer the conversation away from work. "How's Lily adjusting to the new school?" she asked as they shared spring rolls. Tyler couldn't help the proud smile that spread across his face. "Amazingly well. She's already been selected for the advanced art program. Her teacher says she has real talent." "I'd love to see her work sometime," Penelope said, then immediately looked uncertain. If that wouldn't be inappropriate. The comment hung between them, acknowledging the unspoken tension that had been building. "Penny," Tyler said, using the nickname he'd never dared use before. "What are we doing here? Because it feels like more than just a boss taking an employee to dinner." Penelope set down her chopsticks, meeting his gaze directly. "It is, at least for me." She took a deep breath. "I've tried to keep things professional because I don't want to complicate your position at the company, but I've also never met anyone like you, Tyler." The honesty in her voice made something tighten in Tyler's chest. "I feel the same way, but you're literally my boss. The power dynamic alone makes this complicated. I know." She looked down at her plate, then back up at him, determination in her eyes. "What if I assigned you to work directly under the project director instead of reporting to me? There would still be a connection, but not a direct reporting line." Tyler considered this. "Would that solve the ethical concerns? According to our company policies, yes. You'd need to disclose any personal relationship to HR, but as long as I'm not directly responsible for your employment decisions, there's no conflict." Tyler leaned back in his chair, studying her. "You've thought about this a lot, haven't you?" A faint blush colored Penelope's cheeks. "Perhaps." The realization that this powerful, brilliant woman had been contemplating a relationship with him, planning for it, even sent a rush of warmth through Tyler's body. "In that case," he said softly, "I think I'd like to take you on a proper date, Penelope Rhodes. One where we're just two people getting to know each other, not the CEO and the consultant." Her smile was radiant. "I'd like that very much, Tyler Lawson." Their first official date took place the following weekend, a carefully planned outing to an art museum followed by dinner at a mid-range restaurant that wouldn't make Tyler uncomfortable about the bill, but would still offer the quality Penelope was accustomed to. They had agreed to meet there rather than have him pick her up, a concession to the lingering awkwardness of their different social standings. The date went better than either could have hoped. Without the constraints of their professional roles, conversation flowed easily between them. Tyler made her laugh with stories of Lily's latest adventures, while Penelope shared tales of her college days when she'd been a rebellious computer science major determined to prove herself in a field dominated by men. "You never talk about your family," Tyler observed as they lingered over dessert. "Are your parents still alive?" A shadow crossed Penelope's face. "My father is. We're not close. He wanted a son to take over the family business and never quite forgave me for being female. When I started my own company instead of working for his, he considered it a betrayal." Tyler reached across the table to take her hand. "His loss. You've built something incredible." "Thank you," she said softly. "What about your parents?" "My mom's amazing. She helps with Lily whenever I need it. My dad took off when I was 12, so it was just mom raising me and my sister." He shrugged. "It taught me what kind of father I wanted to be for Lily. A wonderful one from everything you've told me." Penelope squeezed his hand. "I'd really like to meet her someday." The thought of introducing his daughter to Penelope made Tyler both nervous and excited. "I'd like that too, but maybe we should give this a little time first. Lily gets attached easily and I'm careful about who I bring into her life." "Of course," Penelope nodded, understanding in her eyes. "That's one of the things I admire about you, Tyler. Your daughter always comes first." As they left the restaurant, Tyler took Penelope's hand, feeling the rightness of her fingers intertwined with his. The night air was cool, and she moved closer to his side. "Would you like to walk for a while?" he asked, not ready for the evening to end. She nodded, and they strolled through the downtown area, past shops and cafes still buzzing with weekend activity. Tyler was acutely aware of how they might look to others, he in his department store clothes. She in an outfit that probably cost more than his monthly rent, but Penelope seemed completely at ease, focusing entirely on their conversation. When they reached the waterfront, they found a quiet bench overlooking the harbor. The city lights reflected on the dark water, creating a magical atmosphere. "Can I ask you something personal?" Tyler said after a comfortable silence had settled between them. "Of course. With everything you have, your success, your position, why me? You could be with anyone." Penelope turned to face him fully, her expression serious. "That night in the parking garage, you risked your safety for a complete stranger. You didn't know who I was or what I could do for you. You just saw someone in trouble and acted." She reached up to touch his face gently. "Do you know how rare that kind of integrity is in my world, Tyler? Everyone wants something from me: business connections, investment money, social status." She took a deep breath. "But it's more than that. It's the way you talk about your daughter with such love. It's how you treat everyone on the construction site with respect, from the architects to the cleanup crew. It's the fact that you challenge my ideas when you think there's a better way, even though I'm technically your boss." Tyler felt something shift in his chest, a certainty settling into place. "I think I'm falling in love with you, Penny, and it terrifies me." Instead of answering with words, Penelope leaned forward and kissed him. It was gentle at first, then deepening as Tyler pulled her closer. When they finally broke apart, both slightly breathless, her eyes were shining. "I think I'm already there," she whispered against his lips. The following weeks brought a gradual merging of their lives. True to her word, Penelope arranged for Tyler to report to the project director rather than directly to her, and they filed the appropriate relationship disclosure forms with HR. There were raised eyebrows and inevitable gossip, but Penelope's reputation for fairness and Tyler's obvious competence quickly silenced most of it. Their relationship deepened through quiet evenings at Tyler's modest apartment, weekend outings that carefully balanced their different financial situations, and late-night conversations where they shared hopes and fears. Tyler discovered that beneath Penelope's confident exterior lay vulnerabilities and doubts that mirrored his own. She learned that his practical nature concealed a dreamer who'd once hoped to design buildings rather than just build them. A month into their relationship, Tyler finally felt ready to introduce Penelope to Lily. They planned a casual Saturday afternoon at the park, with Penelope arriving as if by coincidence while Tyler and Lily were flying a kite. "Daddy, look, is that your friend from work?" Lily asked, spotting Penelope approaching in jeans and a t-shirt, an outfit Tyler had never seen her wear before. "It is," Tyler confirmed, waving to Penelope. Would you like to meet her? Lily nodded, suddenly shy as Penelope reached them. Lily, this is my friend Penelope. Penny, this is my daughter Lily. It's very nice to meet you, Lily, Penelope said, crouching down to the girl's level. Your dad talks about you all the time. He says you're an amazing artist. Lily's shyness melted at the mention of art. Do you like to draw too? I'm not very good at it, Penelope admitted. But I love looking at other people's art. Maybe you could show me some of yours sometime. The afternoon unfolded naturally from there. They flew the kite together, got ice cream from a vendor, and ended up sitting on a blanket while Lily taught Penelope how to make daisy chains. Tyler watched the two most important people in his life getting along so effortlessly and felt a profound sense of rightness. When Lily ran off to join some other children on the playground, Penelope turned to Tyler with a soft expression. She's wonderful, Tyler. Absolutely wonderful. She likes you, he replied, taking her hand. That's high praise from an 8-year-old. I like her too. Penelope hesitated. Is it too soon to ask if she might want to come see where I work sometime? We have a technology lab for employees' children that she might enjoy. The offer touched Tyler deeply. I think she'd love that. As their relationship approached the 6-month mark, the construction project was nearing a critical phase. Tyler found himself working longer hours, often arriving home after Lily was asleep, exhausted but proud of what they were accomplishing. Penelope was equally busy, traveling frequently for meetings with investors and partner companies. Despite their hectic schedules, they made time for each other, sometimes just stealing an hour for coffee or a quick dinner. They were careful to keep their professional interactions appropriate, but everyone on the project knew they were together. One evening, after a particularly challenging day solving an issue with the foundation work, Tyler found Penelope waiting by his truck in the nearly empty parking lot. Rough day, she asked, noting his tired expression. Nothing we couldn't handle, he assured her, but I thought you were in San Francisco until tomorrow. I caught an earlier flight. She looked uncharacteristically nervous. I wanted to talk to you about something, and it didn't feel right to do it over the phone. A flicker of anxiety ran through Tyler. Is everything okay? More than okay. Penelope took a deep breath. Tyler, my lease is up next month, and I've been thinking. What if I looked for a place closer to you and Lily? Something that would make it easier for us to spend time together. Tyler blinked, processing her words. You want to move to our neighborhood. Their current living situations were dramatically different, his modest 2-bedroom apartment versus her luxury penthouse downtown. I want us to consider living together, she clarified. Not necessarily right away, but starting the conversation. I'd look for a house that would give Lily more space, maybe a yard, definitely her own art room. Tyler cut her off with a kiss, pulling her close against him. When they separated, he kept his hands on her waist. Are you sure about this? It's a big step down from what you're used to. Penelope's eyes were serious. Tyler, I've lived in luxury my whole life. What I haven't had is a real family. Being with you and Lily these past months has shown me what I've been missing. She touched his face gently. I love you. I love Lily. Material things don't compare to that. The sincerity in her voice melted Tyler's last reservations. We love you too, Penny. And if you're serious about this, I think it's a wonderful idea, but let's take it slow for Lily's sake. They agreed to start looking for a place together, something that would be theirs from the beginning rather than one of them moving into the other's space. Penelope insisted on properties that Tyler could reasonably afford to pay half the expenses on, refusing to let their financial disparity create an imbalance in their relationship. 2 weeks later, they founded a charming 4-bedroom house with a large backyard in a good school district. It needed some work, but that only made it more appealing to Tyler, who saw the potential beneath the outdated kitchen and worn flooring. What do you think, Lily Bear? Tyler asked as his daughter explored the empty house, running from room to room with excitement. Can I have the room with the window seat? She asked, her eyes wide with hope. Tyler looked at Penelope, who nodded with a smile. Of course you can, sweetheart, he told Lily, and we can paint it any color you want. Purple, no blue, no purple and blue. Lily decided, spinning in circles in what would be her new room. As they watched her, Penelope slipped her hand into Tyler's. "Are we really doing this?" she whispered. "We really are," he confirmed, squeezing her hand. Scared, terrified, she admitted with a small laugh. But in the best possible way. The process of combining their lives brought expected challenges. Penelope had to adjust to a less luxurious lifestyle, while Tyler struggled with allowing her to contribute more financially when it made sense. Lily had moments of insecurity, worried that Penelope might leave like her mother had. But for every difficult moment, there were a dozen joyful ones: family movie nights cuddled on the couch, weekend projects fixing up the house. Lily's delight when Penelope helped her set up a proper art studio in the spare bedroom. They established new routines and traditions, creating a family unit that felt stronger with each passing day. 6 months after moving in together, on a crisp autumn evening, Tyler asked Penelope to take a walk with him through the neighborhood park. The trees were ablaze with red and gold leaves, and the setting sun cast a warm glow over everything. "Remember the night we met?" Tyler asked as they strolled hand in hand along the path. Penelope smiled. "How could I forget? You saved me from losing my purse and possibly much worse. You know what I was thinking that night after I left you? That you were the most remarkable woman I'd ever met, but also that our worlds were too different for anything to happen between us." "I thought the same thing," Penelope admitted, "and yet here we are." Tyler stopped walking, turning to face her. "Here we are," he echoed softly. He reached into his pocket and pulled out a small velvet box. "I've been carrying this around for 2 weeks, waiting for the perfect moment." Penelope's eyes widened as he dropped to one knee on the leaf-strewn path. "Penelope Rhodes, you walked into my life by accident and changed everything for the better. You've loved me for who I am, not what I have. You've loved my daughter like your own. You've shown me that real strength isn't about money or position, but about having the courage to be vulnerable with someone else." He opened the box to reveal a ring modest by her standards perhaps, but the best he could afford. "Will you marry me?" Tears filled Penelope's eyes as she nodded, too emotional to speak for a moment. "Yes," she finally managed. "Yes, Tyler Lawson, I will marry you." As he slipped the ring onto her finger and stood to kiss her, cheers erupted from nearby. They turned to see Lily running toward them, followed by Tyler's mother and several of their closest friends, all conspirators in his plan. "She said yes," Lily announced, throwing her arms around both of them. "Now you'll really be my family forever." "That's right, sweetheart," Penelope said, kneeling to hug Lily properly. "Forever and always." Later that night, after the impromptu celebration had ended and Lily was asleep, Tyler and Penelope sat on the porch swing of their home, her head resting on his shoulder. "I never believed in fate before I met you," Penelope said quietly. "But now I can't help wondering if those thieves were the universe's way of bringing us together." Tyler laughed softly. "If so, I should send them a thank you note. Or a wedding invitation," Penelope suggested with a smile. As they sat together, planning their future in quiet voices, Tyler marveled at how completely his life had transformed. A year ago, he had been a struggling single father, counting every penny and worrying about providing for his daughter. Now he was engaged to an extraordinary woman who loved him for exactly who he was, working in a job that challenged and fulfilled him, and living in a home filled with love and security. All because he'd stopped to help a stranger in need, never suspecting that in saving her, he was also saving himself. "I love you, Penny," he whispered against her hair. "I love you too," she replied, the diamond on her finger catching the porch light as she reached up to touch his face. "More than I ever thought possible." In that moment, the differences that had once seemed insurmountable — wealth, background, social status — faded to insignificance. What remained was the truth they had discovered together. That real love transcends circumstances, that family is built through choice and commitment, and that sometimes the most unexpected encounters lead to the greatest happiness. For Tyler Lawson, former struggling construction worker and future husband of billionaire CEO Penelope Rhodes, life had never felt more perfectly, improbably complete.